There are thousands of Muslims in the Austin community, yet to many of us, the Muslim population is almost invisible. Today we talk about a special Islamic celebration and life in the Muslim community in Austin. Stay with us on Austin Faith Dialogue.
Austin Faith Dialogue, at the crossroads of religion and life. A series highlighting the cultural and social interactions between the worshiping and religious communities in and around the capital city. Austin Faith Dialogue is brought to you by the Austin Metropolitan Ministries in cooperation with KXAN. Join us now in Austin Faith Dialogue.
We're glad you joined us today on Austin Faith Dialogue. I'm Sandy Wilder, your host, and today we'll be talking about the Islamic community in Austin, a group that's perhaps invisible to many of us, even though there are at least 7,000 Muslim people here in the Austin area. And for our conversation today, the guest is Mohsin Lari. We're glad to have you.
Well, I'm glad to be on your show here.
And you are the former General Secretary for the North Austin Islamic Community Center, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, the particular reason for doing the show this time of year, before we get into just talking about the world of the Muslim community here in town, but the particular reason was to talk about an upcoming celebration important in the Islamic faith, and that's Eid al-Adha. Now, my guess is most of the people watching the show have never heard of this celebration. Can you tell us a little bit about what happens?
Yeah, sure. This is one of the two major celebration that we do in our Muslim community. One is Eid al-Fitr, which was in January, and this is Eid al-Adha. And this is essentially a celebration of two things, that people go to Mecca in Saudi Arabia for performing Hajj. That is one of the 5 pillars of Islam. The other 4 pillars is believe in God and the Prophet, doing the prayers 5 times a day, fasting for a month, 1 month during the year, and giving the charity, which is required 2.5% of your total assets. So this is a 5th pillar of Islam, and people from all over the world, they go to Makkah, Saudi Arabia, to perform Hajj once a year, and it happens in this this month of Zil-Hajj. We have our own calendar. It's a lunar calendar, so it changes every year. Shifts 10 days, and people, almost over people, they gather in Mecca to do the Hajj, and we have that picture of Hajj where we have close to 2 million people are going around and performing the Hajj, and the day after the Hajj is the day that we celebrate this Eid al-Adha, and also it's also celebration of Prophet Ibrahim, who was ready and willing to sacrifice his son Ismail, Prophet Ismail, on the request of God. He was asked to sacrifice his son, and he said, okay, if that's what you want, I will go ahead and ask my son. He asked the son Ismail, and son said, sure, Dad, if that's what God wants, go ahead and sacrifice me. And we believe that he took him to sacrifice him with a knife, and God, the angels came and took the son out of there and put a sheep there, so he sacrificed a sheep. And so essentially we all do that ritual, that we sacrifice a sheep, a goat, a camel, or a lamb that we can eat, and the meat that we get from that sacrifice, 1/3 of the meat is given to the poor, 1/3 of the meat is distributed among the friends, and 1/3 is kept for the family to eat.
So every year you're reenacting that sacrifice.
That's right. Yep.
Which to me would sound like not a very happy occasion, because Abraham almost had to sacrifice his son. It sounds like a strange...
but it's happy in the sense that he was willing to do whatever it takes to get God's to sacrifice is the closest thing for the sake of religion, getting himself to be pious person and doing the right things that God wants him to do. And so we learned the lesson from that, that, if for the right things we have to sacrifice our closest thing, then we should be ready to do that. And that's what it reminds us, not that, it's a sad part that, where he has to sacrifice his son, but that was just a test, and he was successful in that test, and he was willing to sacrifice his son, knowing that, well, if that's what God wants, that's what I will do, because that is the right thing to
So
do.
remembering Abraham's faithfulness, obedience then to God.
That's right.
So in addition then to the sacrifices that are still made,
Right.
to remember that sacrifice that almost happened, what else happens during the celebration of
Essentially,
Eid al-Adha?
the day starts with, well, one thing is that everybody in the family gets to buy new clothes and dressed up nicely in the morning. We all go to the mosque, or, because the population here in Austin is so large that we cannot do the prayers in the mosque, we essentially get a banquet hall or some kind of big place, arena, where we can go all together and pray. So first thing in the morning, we all get together there, we do our prayers, and after that, we greet each other at that place, and also we had some snacks and stuff like that over there. Then we visit friends, from one place to another place to another place, and everybody cooks special food, and the kids are given some gifts or some cash, instead of gift, because they can then go and buy whatever they want, instead of giving them gift that they don't want or don't like. So, and then some people have in the evening they have, or in the afternoon they have open houses that people come and visit them, and some people have like a one dish party where a lot of family get together. Essentially like me and my wife try to do open house on one holiday, and on the other holiday we do a one dish party where about 20, 25, 30 families they come, and we have about 60, 70 people together and celebrating this feast.
And when you say holiday, then that implies, for me at least, a day that people would take off work and not do their other responsibilities. Right. Is that the
well,
case then?
Initially, when I've been here for about 22 years now, and I made a point that, well, if I had to take a time off without pay, if I don't have vacation, I will take it, because that's my religious holiday, and I do that same thing with my kids, that they don't go to school. But now it's the awareness is there, and the Muslim centers are working together, and we provide a letter to the school saying that this is our holiday. And actually back home we get 3 days off, because there's a 3-day celebration for both the holidays, the Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha. Here we try to take at least 1 day, if not 2 days. And a lot of people, they cannot take off time, then they have to go and work. But the majority of the people now, they try to get time off from work, and also get their kids to take off from school and make up later on.
Mm-hmm. And you say you've lived in Austin a number of years. Have you noticed that then there's more awareness of the celebration of Eid al-Adha, or are you still having to explain every year?
Yeah, well, no, it is, at least it's not, it's from family, it depends from family to family, because like, we are very involved, and we send stuff to the school. For example, we send these cassettes that I brought a copy of, this right here, and they can show it in their library or in their media room, and we send some sweet and stuff like that, so that they're getting aware of, and some other people are doing it, but there's no organized way of informing all the people, and that's where me and my wife are working, try to get the message out to everyone that these are our celebration. And we have been working with statesmen, and unfortunately we haven't been able to work with any TV station so far, but we're hoping that as the time goes on, we will be able to do that. And so when these occasions come, we can come and do some show, or provide people information that our holiday is coming on, and they're more aware of it.
And now you said there's about 7,000
Yeah.
Muslims here in the Austin area, who I suspect for many of us are almost invisible. We don't notice Islamic celebrations. We're not aware of holy days, that sort of thing. How would you like the Austin community to pay more attention to what's going on in the Muslim world?
I think, again, as I said, the best way is through media, news media and the TV media. We have been able to get some of the stories out in Austin Statesman for the last couple of years now. I mean, we have been here for about 5 years now, and last 2 years we have been able to get articles about this holiday and on right time in Austin Statesman. But I think the best place will be to go through TV and make sure that they show at least some provide some news about it to people, and that's I think that's the biggest way of letting people know that we are here, and we are good big community here, and we celebrate our celebrations. And we have people here from doctor to engineers to businessmen, and we are providing a lot of we are helping the community here, economically and socially. And we are trying our best to organize better, and so that get our message out that we are here, and we are a good citizen. And in spite of media portraying every Muslim as a terrorist, that's one of the things that whenever we all sit down together, we talk about that. How can we, get that negativity out of the media?
Well, now, sometimes folks will invite people from outside their faith community to come and attend or participate or whatever, depending on the circumstance, in special celebrations and special observances. Is the Eid al-Adha celebration the kind of thing that outsiders could come and at least watch?
Yeah, well, sure, yeah. I mean, I invite TV right now to come in, and when we have, I can call and let you know. The problem with us is for the celebration is that we can't tell you a month before, because our celebration depends on a lunar calendar, and until unless the new moon starts, we don't know which day is going to be. Okay, so that's the critical problem that we face, that we cannot tell you that we will have this celebration on this date. It can vary for a day or 2 days maximum, but we can. I will invite a TV station here to come and tape it and talk to people when we are doing our prayers on this Eid al-Adha day. I will give you time and date and place, and put it on the news.
Sounds like a good idea, and also a good reminder to us to pay attention to people of another faith in a different way from what we're doing. So we'll continue talking about differences in faith and paying attention in the second half. We're glad you're here for Austin Faith Dialogue. We'll be right back. Glad you're here for Austin Faith Dialogue when we're talking about a special Muslim celebration, Eid al-Adha, and about the Muslim community here in Austin. And the guest is Mohsin Ladi, and you were the General Secretary of the North Austin Islamic Community Center.
That's right.
Good to have you here.
Thank you. Good to be here.
And we talked a little bit in the first half about Eid al-Adha itself, and then we were getting into a little bit more about perception and living together with each other. I wonder if, just from your personal background, might say a little bit about what seems to be happening with portrayals of Muslim people in the media and what we see and what we read and therefore in what we understand. What do you see happening?
Well, see, the problem that we see is that there are some people, of course, in every society, in every religion, that they are extremists and they do things their way. But you don't label the whole religion because of those. That anything that happens, say, Muslim terrorist, you can always say, well, this person, a group of people from Egypt blew up, let's say, World Trade Center. Okay, so instead of calling it Muslim terrorists, you could say a terrorist group from Egypt, right? So that makes more sense that they're from Egypt. You don't label the whole religion as terrorist, and that happens over and over and over again. Anything that happens anywhere in the world, the first word you hear is Muslim terrorist did this, if which is not fair. I mean, it could be a person from Lebanon or a person from Syria or a group from somewhere else. Why don't they call it a group and a terrorist group from Sudan or Egypt or India or Pakistan or whatever did this? Why do they call it Muslim terrorists did that? Yes, they are Muslim, but then if you look at IRA in Ireland, they blow up left and right, or they blow up some things in Ireland, but we don't hear that Christian terrorists. We hear that IRA freedom fighters, or so that's not fair. I mean, for us, law-abiding citizens, which are majority of the people here in the United States, they are professional. They are contributing to the society, to the economics of America. Most of the people are doctors. Most of the people are engineers. I myself is a computer engineer here for 22 years, contributed to the society here. But when we hear that, that hurts us.
And you do look like an ordinary citizen. I wonder what your personal experience of running up against those stereotypes has been.
Actually, personally, I have not met anyone who has dealt with me like that. So there's no personal experience, bad experience at all. But it still hurts when you sitting with your family watching the news, and the first thing the news guy says is that, well, Muslim terrorists blew up a car or a building. Well, and those terrorists were from some country. Why don't they say, well, a terrorist group which belongs to this country blew up this thing? I mean, that's a better way of saying that, because that's what it is.
Right.
I mean, it's not the whole religion is behind that thing.
So
right? It's just that group that is doing that, and that group also belongs to a country. So we'll call it that instead of calling it Muslim terrorist, because that hurts the whole family. It affects the kids especially. That they ask us, why they always call Muslim terrorists.
We still have some work to do, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
And it occurs to me that some of the reason for stereotypes may be simply lack of knowledge, that there aren't opportunities for those of us who are Christian or Jewish or some other major faith group to really get to know our Muslim neighbors. Maybe you can suggest some ways that we can begin to know who you are and to know something about Islam?
I think that's a very good point, and I think we should also seek out and see that if there are some activities going on, then bring our organization in there and represent us in that activity. And I think unfortunately we have not that organized yet to do that kind of thing, but hopefully, I mean, we will organize as time goes and as there are more people. See, the problem that I see is that we are the first generation and we are struggling, okay, because we don't have anything to fall back to. Okay, so we are just putting, getting our bases strong here right now, and we cannot put our energy on that and other things too. But I'm sure that the second generation, which will have something to fall back to us as the first generation, so they don't have to worry about that. If I don't have a job today, who's going to pay for my house, where I'm going to live tomorrow, right? They can always fall back to us. We have comfortable living, and they can come back and live with us. But we don't. So we have to struggle that. We have to build our foundation. At the same time, try to fight off these kind of things. It's very difficult. But we are getting better. We are getting better organized.
And you say not very organized yet. So the Muslim community in Austin is completely disorganized, or are there organized groups?
No, there are groups, there are organizations. There are two organizations at the North Austin Muslim Community Center, which I was General Secretary for last 1 year. And then there is one in downtown, Austin Muslim Community Center. But they are organized in that sense that they do these activities, but I mean they are still trying to get inside, like you're saying, before you're going to outside, you to fix your house. So we're trying to get organized inside and make sure that things are in place. We are right now, we just completed a building on 51st Street. That's where they started the school also, a Muslim full-time school. From I think it's kindergarten to 3rd grade. So we are doing all those things internally. Now once like I said, that we have to build our foundation, and then we have energy to go out and do that. So when I said we are not organized, I didn't mean that we completely disorganized. We are organized, but it will take some time to get there. But you have a good point that we'll have to do some kind of open houses to bring in people from other faiths to come and look at what we are.
Right. I was wondering, as
right.
people are interested in the topic today, where they might go, who they might call to
right.
say, I'd like to visit, I'd like to talk with somebody,
right.
to learn a bit more. Are there places and people yet to get in
Well,
touch
yeah,
with?
there are two, as I said, that there are 2 centers right now, and you can call. I don't have the number with me right now, but I can provide you later on. And people can call there and ask them. For example, when I've been in Boston, Massachusetts for 20 years, and I was there involved in the center also. And there used to be school kids will have a field trip. On Friday prayers, we have a Friday prayers at 1:30 to 2 o'clock, and that's a Friday special day for us that we have to do that Friday prayer in the mosque. So the school will take a field trip, bring the kids out to the mosque, and they will watch us. They listen to the sermon, and then after that we'll have our prayer. They will watch them, and then they will go and they will have understood a little bit better what Islam is about. So those kind of things, again, as I said, that was a mature community over there, because we've been working for a long time here. Austin is just in the last, I think 3-4 years has grown quite a bit. I mean, Muslim community essentially doubled in last 3-4 years. So it's growing fast, because of the UT. There's a lot of kids, they come here to school, and high tech, people are coming here. A lot of business people are coming here because the business is growing here. So we will get there, but it just will take some time. But I think we have ourselves have to open up and conduct some special events to bring in people from other faiths to come and see what we're doing here.
Well, and you were in a leadership position this past year. So in that position, what were some of the discussions that you heard about ways to open up, and ways to welcome the rest of Austin to learn a little bit about Islam?
We discussed about going to the interfaith meetings. There's in Austin, and essentially, like I said, most of the focus have been to build our center right now. I mean, we have this 5-acre land, and we have an old house that we're using for our mosque, and we don't even have parking. So most of our effort, again, are being spent on getting our own house in good shape before we start, reaching out other people. And hopefully, like I was talking to you earlier, that last year we put together a project for building the parking lot, because we don't even have that for 170 cars, and we submitted to the city for the approval. And as soon as it's approved, then we're going to build that, and then we're going to build the actual mosque in there. So there are a lot of things to do right now in the center. And again, it takes a lot of energy. Now everybody's working as a volunteer there. I have a full-time job. I have family to take care of. And also I have to work there to make sure that we get this, this center built up.
Right, you're pioneers. Well, since you're relatively new to the Austin area, maybe you can say briefly what your experience has been so far here in Austin as opposed to in Boston, where the Islamic community was much larger.
In what sense? You mean as far as the
How,
community
how
Islam?
well have you been received and understood and welcomed
By-
here in Central Texas?
Oh, okay. I think I love it. I mean, it's a very good place to live, and people are friendly. And there's, sometimes when people come out from outside to Texas, they think that it's all, cowboys country, and but when you come in Austin, you see all kinds of people from everywhere, and it's a melting pot. I think that we call America as a melting pot, and Austin is real. I mean, you see people coming from West Coast, from Northeast, from all kinds of different countries. Especially UT attract a lot of people from all different countries, and when they come here to attend UT, they like this place and they decide to live here, and that's why the population of of Muslims are growing. There are a lot of Muslim people. They come to the UT, and then after graduating, they continue to work here, and I think it's a very good place to live. I love it.
So do the rest of us, actually.
Yeah.
Now, getting back to Eid al-Adha one more time. This year, as I recall, the celebration begins at sundown on March the 15th.
Right. Again, as I said, that it depends on lunar. It's a lunar calendar. So until unless the new moon comes on, which should be sometime early first week of March, then it's the 10th day from that. After the new moon is the 10th day that we celebrate. The 9th day is the Hajj, which happens in Saudi Arabia, that people go to for the pilgrimage.
Right.
And then the 10th day of that month is when we celebrate Eid al-Adha. So it will be, I think it's 15th, 14th or 15th, something like that.
Okay, so people can pay attention to the calendar, note when the 10th day is, and then perhaps call the community center and find out time and place and all if they'd like to learn a little bit more.
Right. And normally, because as I said, that this prayer is special and a lot of people come to the prayer, and we can accommodate 7,000 or 8,000 people in either of us. So we end up in getting one time we had it at the Travis County Center there,
The
Exposition Center. One time we had there. So it depends on what we can rent, what place we can rent. We normally have it at one of the hotels, for example. So that's when we decide, and that's when we announce that this is where it's going to be. And the time normally is, it's the morning time, because that's when our prayers are, around 8 o'clock or so.
Well, I hope people pay attention this year, and you have some visitors, and we do begin to build those bridges. Mohsin, thank you, and hope this is the first of many conversations.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I'm looking forward to work with you on this.
Great. And we're glad you joined us on Austin Faith Dialogue. We hope you'll be here again next week.